this is the first time in the past 20 years that we have this kind of scenario. It's quite unfortunate that it happens that way. But in our case in APC, we take seriously the affairs of the general populace and members of the party, especially the downtrodden ones. We had series of experiences in the course of this administration that has just exited. We'll be exiting in the next 1 or 2 weeks. However, the affairs of the general PSP people, that is the elderly women, men, the sweepers, and those that are actually operating on these trucks.
Yes, the idea of removing all the street sweepers from the roads and then incapacitating the PSP operators gave the leaders of the party a serious concern. And as you can see, there is so much garbage almost in every nook and crannies of the state, which turned the state almost to the point where it was as during the period of the military when Ajose came in before restructuring the pattern of how we evacuate refuse from all the homes. Deviating from that gave us a bad image, both locally and internationally. And during that period, there was a fear of Lassa fever because rats are beginning to have a place of abode in all these debris that are all over the state. So they brought in the Visionscape. The concept of which Visionscape brought into the state is quite different from the kind of revenue we generate. They might have been very effective in their area, but here in Nigeria, it is not as effective as we expected in Lagos State. With that, there was concern from the leaders, and they felt that they were not consulted, neither were the intention was made known until these people came into the state. It appears that they don't even know their terrain. The operations was not as effective as it could have been. So that was what gave the final straw to the patience of the leadership. So later they actually closed down Loma headquarters by removing all the staff back to Alausa, and as if they are going to start a new process. And that is itself gave the PSP operators concern, and they started protesting. So with that, the leadership now felt that, well, we were informed that the incumbent was invited and matters were discussed with him, but it yielded no positive result. At that point, they felt that, well, if given the opportunity for a second term, it may be an adverse, damaging effect on the party itself. So that was how they took that decision. And it was not even the present governor-elect alone that was considered. There is a screening process. It just happens to be the one that emerged at the final stage. There was a screening process of which he himself doesn't even know. There are people that they put on the line and they screened their antecedents in terms of their professional skills and the ability to govern Lagos State with all these antecedents. And then the governor-elect also had been through the mill in the public service, so he wasn't a novice. So he knew exactly all the nitty-gritty that it needs to be known. He's equally a professional. So that opportunity came to his doorstep. And I can assure you that when he was initially informed, he was dumbfounded because he couldn't even speak for the first 25 minutes or so, because it didn't hit him with surprise. But like a person, you have to take up the challenge. You have been given an assignment which people believe that you have the capacity to manage. So there's no way you can now turn back and say, I'm sorry, I cannot do it. And put your talent to scale and put all your ability at it. With the support of your peers and the general public, you'll be able to achieve success. But one thing is that don't allow power to consume you. Because at the bottom line, one is responsive to the generality of the populace. So that was how he emerged. Very quiet, humble, intelligent, diligent, and responsible. I have no doubt he will meet the challenges and he will even surpass what expectation everybody is looking at. But one thing for sure is that he's going to meet a huge challenge on ground. He needs to restructure the entirety of the public service. He needs to put a structure in place going back the memory lane of what happened in 2006 when civil service was restructured. Some ministries that are very cogent to the needs of the generality of the rural areas had been abrogated or scrapped. They need to be resuscitated. All our parastatal organizations need to be properly monitored for effectiveness of discharge of their responsibilities. Not necessarily because the ministry are supposed to be supervisory ministry. There must be an independent body that will have to monitor the activities. That was how and why things were moving at a very fast pace during the era of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Fashola. One thing is that by scrapping it, you don't even look at the effect of it. Then you subsume them under a ministry that have a wider responsibility without looking back. In Lagos area metropolis today, you have a high level of people migrating from the rural setting to Lagos. That's why you have overcongestion. Many people sleep under the bridge because they want to come for greener pastures. Things that are supposed to go to them in their own area has been taken away, so they have to struggle to get back to Lagos. Most of them don't even have any place or people to come and meet here. If you go around Igomu area, you see so many of them sitting on the floor or sleeping on the street there. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board and do a proper restructuring of the service in order to meet the challenges that will bring a holistic approach of development to the entirety of the state, not one segment of it. So I'm sure a lot of things is going on now, trying to reinvent the wheel of progress. I think with the work that they have done so far in terms of preparatory for taking over the mantle of leadership here in the state, they have looked into an area where they can incorporate some new agenda into the old 10-point agenda that was being used by the two earlier in civilian administration besides that of Jakonde. Jakande too came in with a focus. Definitely there must be a drive that we need to do. And there must be something we call continuity. Like the governor-elect has said, he's not going to abandon any project that this present administration has done. He's going to incorporate the old administration's project, which have been abandoned for quite some time, revive them, because it's the public fund that were used in developing all these projects for the benefit of the generality of the populace. We just don't set it aside as if nothing has happened. Even if we are setting it aside, the populace know that these structures are there. So I think it's time that we must not try to be in the position where we have to set a project, people-oriented project, be for the purpose of our own personal something. So. Well, we are going to move at a very fast pace. That I know that administration is determined to do. Although the magnitude of the financial position of the state will have to be properly determined. Nobody knows whatever the position of finance of the state is at the moment until final taking over and you begin to see or examine volume of debts that have been owed to contractors, stages of things that are happening within the ministerial structures, things of that nature, and what are the needs that are actually need to be improved upon. All those aspects has to be looked into, determine what the volume of finance base that we have before you can now project how you are going to do or tackle the project. You know, the Lagosians are very, very restless. They are expecting miracle to happen overnight. So we must also challenge ourselves to meet the needs of these people so that they don't feel disappointed. And I'm sure they will never be in this circumstance. That is the expectation of the general populace. He has not even told anybody that he's coming out of wrong. But that is what the people want. So people are flying that kite. Unfortunately, some people are jittery about it. But you cannot throw away a gold or a diamond for just a raw iron. So if the man is capable of pulling Nigeria out of his dead wood, then there's nothing stopping him. He's a Nigerian, he has the qualification, he has the expertise, he has the knowledge, and he's open to the people. So there are so many qualities that the man has that others don't have. So they cannot just adjudge him by trying to blackmail him that they cannot come out, because that's what exactly people were trying to preempt. But I'm sure when the time comes, we all will see what the population will say. Godfatherism is not a question of just picking or just pushing any kind of person. What I tell you that some people are jittery is exactly what is happening with El-Rufai's statement. I want to know how El-Rufai retained his own governorship candidacy. Is it the best material in the north? It's part of the cabal. So he cannot come and tell us here in Lagos that we have Godfatherism. Yes, Ashwaju mentored so many people. And you can see the quality of the people that he has mentored. They are not just riffraffs. They are people that can stand their ground anywhere. So definitely, it's not a question of God. If you are good, you are good. If you are not good, you are just not good. So it's not a question of you want to lobby me to become something that you cannot even manage. So these are things that I believe that he should manage his own Kaduna that he has turned into a war zone, than coming here to Lagos to come and tell us exactly what we are doing. We can't, if we put Lagos State on the same pedestal with Kaduna? Is it telling me that Lagos State is far behind Kaduna, or they are still coming here to Lagos to come and learn what we do? So I'm very certain that we are not complaining, really. If it's godfathering, we love it. I think it's a progressive godfatherism, and we love that. So we are okay by what we are doing. Well, I want to wish the incoming governor-elect a very successful tenure. And I want to advise him that he should listen to advice and don't allow people that will surround him to mislead him into something that will try to damage the image of his government.